An episode of Nikita, La Femme Nikita, Season 1. Peter Wilson, Roy Dupuis. And, just want to cry sometimes. It's not really related to the storyline that much. There's a lot of underlying things, right, at the root. Remember, in the last 10 years, I've spent a few years on and off where I was crying multiple times per week, just generally speaking, without it being a depression. And depression is not necessarily that the sign is people crying all the time. I'm not saying that. But, let's say I'm teary-eyed and I kind of want to walk to the library and I bump into a neighbor, and I think I'd be a bit hostile, but not, maybe that's the wrong word, but frustrated or impatient if there's an interference with my feelings of experiencing sadness. So I'm defensive of my sadness because other people can't relate to it in the way that I experience it based on the human condition. So it's one sign that it's not depression, right? Depression wouldn't usually or ever respond in the same way that people would probably want some attention or a chance to be seen or to tell their story. But for me, it's like, nah, you wouldn't relate. And that includes, counselors on the island. I had the last few ones that I tried. Is all I'm asking is counseling skill 101, just to kind of, provide those skills without any strategy other than, having me notice that I'm understood and heard and accepted as who I am, somebody that suffers from species alienation, because you can't cure me unless you cure the norm, right? The norm that suffers from a variety of human domestication syndromes, who keeps accelerating the Anthropocene, which includes the climate catastrophe and political collapse and things like that. So what I wanted to say is as well that just a moment. I don't know if that's the main point I wanted to say with this particular vlog before I walk, but there's a general sense that my body is inconsistent with having, let's say, a good night's sleep, but then suddenly I realize I'm not feeling well. It's like I'm fighting off something again. And then sometimes I'll have a bad night's sleep and I'm good hours after. And I've been lowering also my modafinil now to get off of it. And the reason that I would give is, well, it's something that helps me be productive. And when I'm productive, it fights off, depression, for example. And it's not like it's going to lead to depression, again, because I've explained depression for me. The deep depressions I had was questioning myself when I failed, interacting with the norm. But when I realized the problems were with the norm, and these cycles I went through that led to deep depressions that lasted a while, was related to the reality of the human condition and how I, as somebody that's different than the norm, would interact and relate to them. It was linked to that. And now let's say I fail at a few things and I'm not doing well in my life. Would it be enough to lead to a deep depression? Well, yes, if you kind of realize that the norm is really thinking there's something wrong with you for making ethical decisions, let's say, that makes you lose a job, let's say, which now, it's so weird how I want to volunteer places, and they're more interested in me becoming a member than volunteering there. And becoming a member, let's say, when I'm not into sitting at a bar and drinking alcohol, when I'm there, let's say, to offer karaoke, they just want me to become one of them. And they don't see that if they allow me to be me, I would bring in all these programs, which would bring in more members. So in a way, it's more evidence that the people primates can't self-correct, and that my situation, because theirs won't change, mine won't change. And mine is to suffer from the ridiculousness that the species I share DNA with insists on keeping and accelerating.